Good morning, Congressman. Thank you so much for joining us this morning here on CTV. Right off the top, what was your reaction to the sudden firing of the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem?
It's about time. I mean, that's been long overdue. I thought she was unqualified at the time when he nominated her, and sadly, the Senate confirmed her and put her in a position that she had no previous experience with, and I think that showed from day one. I think it was almost a daily train wreck with respect to her and how she ran that agency. ICE went from bad to worse, and we saw with the killings of Preddy and Good there in Minneapolis that they were out of control. And instead of her reaction being, my goodness, we need to rein this in, she came on television and said that, he was a domestic terrorist and tried to basically character assassinate both of them. So I thought that getting rid of her is a big step, maybe, hopefully in the right direction to overhauling the Department of Homeland Security and especially ICE. We'll have to see.
And do you believe her removal signals deeper problems within DHS, or was this more about her leadership and accountability?
Well, apparently, Trump was upset that she didn't take the fall for that $220 million ad campaign that she ran featuring herself and paying off the boyfriend of one of her employees. So when she said at a Senate hearing that she'd run it by the president and he agreed to it, apparently that for him, that was a bridge too far, and he fired her after that. But, sadly, he let her stay after the killings of Preddy and Good. He let her stay after, the initial stories about the spending of the $220 million came out. He let her stay even though it was clear that DHS was being run into the ground. So I don't know that this is going to be a change in policy. I think it might just be another loyalty test for Trump. But Democrats are going to keep pushing to make sure that ICE, for sure, gets reined in. The push for judicial warrants to go into people's houses, body cameras, which she said she would do, but it's never come to pass yet. No mask, having your identification information on your outer garments, at least for ICE agents, just like every other police officer across the country. We're going to continue to push for those things.
There were bipartisan concerns about DHS operations and controversial enforcement actions. What reforms do you think Congress should push for as they move forward?
Well, the ones I just mentioned certainly are important. I think the end of roving patrols and racial profiling by ICE, I think, is very much a top priority. They've been slapped down by courts across the country for doing this, but they continue to do it. The detention facilities are horrific. I think they've had around 50 deaths in these detention facilities. And we've got a facility here in Maryland and Baltimore that, we're going to go tour soon just to continue to keep an eye on it from an oversight perspective. But it's, we've got better shelter space for pets than for these people. So I think it's time for them to really clean up their act. They need a complete overhaul with respect to what they're doing here with ICE and the Border Patrol agents, here in the interior of the United States.
President Trump wasting little time in naming her replacement. He's nominated Senator Markwayne Mullin. What would you want to see from him as this confirmation process gets underway?
Well, I mean, hopefully he's going to be able to learn quickly on his feet because he doesn't appear to have much of a background either in law enforcement or national security, certainly not from a managerial standpoint. And this is a huge agency, one of the biggest, I think, just under the Department of Defense and maybe the Department of Justice. They've got a budget that's bigger the ICE budget is bigger than the FBI budget. So there's a lot to manage here and try and get back on track. And clearly things are moving in the wrong direction with respect to ICE and the Border Patrol piece. FEMA's been having trouble as well. And, a lot of that's driven by the president playing favorites with respect to who gets disaster relief funding. But, a new secretary, hopefully, can come in, learn fast, turn these things and get them back in the right direction, have the agency running in a way that it should and has under the previous Democratic and Republican presidents alike.
And as we transition from there, I want to switch gears real quick over to the conflict overseas. How concerned are you about the possibility of the United States becoming more deeply involved militarily over there?
It looks like a foregone conclusion at this point. I mean, the president hasn't ruled out boots on the ground, which is deeply concerning to me. That's a hard red line. I think under no circumstances should we be putting troops on the ground in Iran, because that's how you turn this into definitely a long-term quagmire like we had with Iraq and Afghanistan. He doesn't seem to have any goals in place as far as, what's the end game? What do we want to get out of this? And that's important to have that, because that's how you know when to stop. That's how you know when you're done. But I don't know that they've really nailed those down yet. So making sure that whatever those are get figured out quickly, and not getting us in any deeper into this than we have to, I think is critical. The problem now, though, is we've kind of broken it. And, as Colin Powell used to say, if you break it, you own it. And, they've devastated the regime over there. Apparently not enough to put in a democratic leadership structure. And we've had no success with that over the past 50 years anyway, especially, again, Iraq and Afghanistan should have been hard, strong lessons against the United States trying to engage in regime change in the Middle East. So it could be a big mess we're heading to. We'll just have to see.
And many Americans, as you can imagine, are worried about another long-term conflict overseas. What will you say to your constituents who fear the U.S. could be pulled into another war, essentially?
I share their concerns. I mean, we lost thousands of people during the previous conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan. We spent trillions of dollars, really have nothing to show for it. And we've already lost 6 lives here so far. And my prayers and condolences go out to those families. But, Trump's reaction was, these things happen. And I think that kind of reflects how casual he's been about this. The other part, too, is this is going to feed badly into the affordability crisis that many Americans are facing. Just coming over here to the office, gas prices have jumped 50 cents a gallon. It hasn't even been a week yet. So I'm expecting that to certainly stay where it is and potentially rise even more. That's going to add more problems to the high cost of electricity. People couldn't complain about their electric bills. And they've already been having trouble putting food on the table and keeping a roof over their heads. So Trump said he was going to run to fix these things and he'd start on day one. It's been exactly the opposite. Instead, he's doing things like getting into awards to drive up prices, and tariffs are also driving up prices. These are all of his doing, and he needs to fix them ASAP.
And everything just continues to just grow and grow right before our eyes. Congressman, I want to thank you so much for your time this morning, and we look forward to speaking with you in the future, sir.
Thanks so much. Keep up the good work.